Now they have apparently the power to use tow truck and move these trucks away. These trucks that are just blocking everything. Yeah, this flag is upside down. Why you put your flags upside down if you're right winger? You're supposed to be patriotic. How long has this been going on? Well, this is exactly what we're going to take a look here. That's quote unquote freedom protest. How do we get there? So we were going to go through a timeline of how it happened to see how did we get there, and we will see how long this has been going on. So the so-called Freedom Convoy protest has paralyzed Ottawa for days, making parts of the nation's capital inaccessible and forcing some business to close. Yeah. People are complaining that the COVID measures were doing that. Now they're doing it. So what does it start here? January. Okay, it's been a month now already. So a GoFundMe fundraiser is started from the Freedom Convoy 2022 by organizers Tamara Lynch and BJ Ditcher. This name is familiar. I don't know why, but I think this name's familiar. So January 15, the trucker vaccine mandate come in force that requires all travelers to be fully vaccinated before crossing the Canada-USA border. And it seems to be a law that's in place both ways. So Canada ask USA truckers to show that they're fully vaccinated to come into Canada, and the US asks Canada truckers to be fully vaccinated when they come into the US. And if they're not, they will be stopped at the border, whatever side they're coming from. In a statement, convoy organizers say they came to the decision that the government crossed the line, which is funny because they are the one stopped from crossing a line, with a COVID-19 vaccine passport and vaccine mandates, announcing that they plan to travel to Ottawa. What are you going to do in Ottawa? The United States decided you need to have a passport. You need to protest the USA, right? So a few comments here. There were Thomas here. There were protests in some cities that did what they were allowed to, which is like a rolling protest, where they can drive super slow but can park and stop. Yeah, here they kind of they cannot really send the police into protest. It's kind of against the law. A few crazies, but it's paralyzing now. It needs, right? Well, it doesn't matter the amount of people, Zeke. If your current laws doesn't allow you to take people and move them away, and if you really need to move them away because they're becoming a problem, you have to do something about it. Tentacle, hey, Tentacle, hello there. Hey, what are we going on there? We're talking political stuff, Tentacle. Thanks for joining us. I'm happy to see you today. Apparently, Tentacle, we are now under the Emergencies Act, which has been enacted for the second time in Canada's history. So we are looking into what this means and where do we go there and what this will impact or not on us. It's more likely bilateral meeting because they probably not do if they wanted to. Yeah, Canada is the most locked down country. So the US is probably easier to... I don't think that is accurate, Zeke. About lockdowns? I'm going to have to look into that, but... Thomas, well, we don't have a whole lot of restriction anymore. Yeah, you don't have... Okay, maybe now, Zeke. Okay, I can see what you mean. Maybe now. Possibly. It was agreed together. The US didn't just say it. Of course it was agreed together, but doesn't mean that if Canada decides to remove the law, the mandate, US also have to remove it on their side. Just realized you can change the chat color. Yeah, I should, right? I should. Let me... I should make it... Yeah, let's make it darker. There we go. Okay, so... let's go see what we have here. So, January 15. So... they're not happy with the mandate, and they're set across the line. January 22, U.S. beginning barring unvaccinated truck drivers from Canada and Mexico as the country vaccines mandate come into effect. Okay. So far, seems to be a U.S. thing. January 23rd, the Canadian Trucking Alliance condemned the planned protest 24 hours before a convoy of truckers left British Columbia en route to Ottawa. Okay. January 24th, one of the arms of the convoy passed through Regina, which is a Canadian city in Saskatchewan, I think. Let me just make sure I'm not saying anything wrong. I will embarrass myself right now. Let me check. Regina, Saskatchewan. Good. Got it. So they're leaving British Columbia, which is on the total west side, and they're going through Ottawa, which is almost on the east coast. If you have special badges, you can change those. January 25th, another convoy segment passed through Canberra. Okay, well, yeah. Why don't we have the chat now? Okay, chat is back. The GoFundMe released a total of $1 million to the truck. Wow, $1 million. That's what Fud was talking earlier. The backers. Okay, that's a lot. Segment of the convoy passes through the Greater Toronto area, and so they're going slowly towards Ottawa. January 28th. So that's through 3 weeks ago. A new convoy passes through Quebec and plans to head to Parliament Hill for journey. Parliament Hill is where we have the siege of government in Ottawa. So everybody's from everywhere. They're kind of converting towards Ottawa. Nova Scotia bans gathering along the Trans-Canadian Highway between the Nova Scotia and New Brunswick border in relation to... Okay, they're preparing. Some members of the convoy beginning arriving in Ottawa and blocking major streets in downtown core. That's what I'm not cool with. When you're doing that, you kind of putting problems on the citizens. So, citizens that didn't have ask for anything. And I always thought the right-wingers against the COVID rules were all about not bothering the people, right? January 29. The main rally for the convoy takes place. Police estimates approximately 3,000 trucks. Wow. And up to 15,000 protesters took part. 3,000 trucks. That is a lot of trucks in the way. Hateful and anti-Semitic imagery is seen in the crowd, including yellow stars, the Confederate flag, and swastikas. Why am I not surprised? What a shock, right, Fud? Fud, are you surprised of this? Widespread condemnation is voiced on some of the protesters' behaviors, including harassing a homeless shelter, dancing on the National War Memorial. Oh, come on, guys. I thought right-wingers were all about respecting the soldiers. Only when it fits you. Putting flags and sign on the Terry Fox statue and public urination on National Monument. Yeah. Right-wing people, right? All about being proud of your country. Former U.S. President Donald Trump praises the convoy in Ottawa while addressing supporters in Texas. Okay. This is starting to make sense. Is that is that CTV? Okay, CTV tends to be mostly in the center, so this seems to depict a Bronze. Hello there, Bronze. Thanks for joining us. So on the 13th, the Ottawa Police Services launched a criminal investigation into the desecration of the National War Memorial and the Terry Fox statue. Yes, please. A blockade at the Couts Alta border crossing south down access to the US-Canada border in solidarity with the main convoy in Canada. So they're blocking the borders. Tentacle says here, there were convoy issues out there in BC over the weekend. It was creating 40 minutes backlog and they would block the bridge. Police tried to remove them. That's why your computer was blocked, Tentacle. That's what happened. They blocked the reception of your computer and it was stuck in the blockade. That's why you didn't get it in time. It's no longer a protest. Things have gone beyond and that people now need to be arrested. There is more hurt happening and there is any good. This is my understanding so far. That's why I have all these tabs open and I really want to learn about this properly so I get a good feeling about what's happening. So on the 31st, Parliament resumes after the holidays. Yeah, Ottawa paramedics confronting protesters threw rocks at an ambulance and used racial slurs against a paramedic, leading to a police escort being provided for all further calls for safety. Congrats. Protesters owe speeches on Parliament Hill. Okay, this is fine. I have no issues with that. Trudeau delivers fiery remarks in a national address saying, "We are not intimidated." Okay. February 1st, Ottawa police set up a hotline for crimes related to the protests, including 8 crimes, and announced 2 people were arrested and charged in connection with incident that took place over the January 19 event. So that's why they needed the War Measures Act, because as long as you don't do anything against the law, and protesting is not against the law, you cannot be arrested. So the current law cannot allow them to have tow trucks, take the big trucker truck and just move it out of the way. So they just have to watch and say in a very Canadian fashion, "Can you stop, please? Can you move your trucks away, please?" And when they say no, they say, "Oh, gosh, damn it." February 1st, Ottawa residents report being challenged, harassed, and threatened with violence by protester. Wow. Impressive. February 2nd, Freedom Convoy organizers issues a statement saying they plan to remain in Ottawa as long as it takes for all COVID-19 mandates to end. Again, let me rephrase this. For all COVID mandates imposed by the United States to end. Ottawa Police Service Deputy Chief Steve Bell, which we are going to talk about this man later, I think, says in a press briefing the remaining protesters are highly volatile and that activities have shifted away from a protest to an occupation. Okay, this is a loaded language here. GoFundMe suspends the Freedom Convoy 2022 fundraiser for a second time. Yeah, GoFundMe decided that was too much. That's too much, man. February 3rd, Public Safety Minister Marco Medicino announced that the RCMP has approved all requests from the Ottawa server to aggress Convoy. Convoy organizers also press conference where they describe being painted as racist, misogynist, and even terrorists. Well, if any of these things here said are true, Meep, thanks for reading me first, buddy. I would not say terrorists so far. I've heard nothing that makes me think they're terrorists, but yeah, obviously a lot of racist and misogynist people over there from what we heard. One of the leader of Convoy, Tamarlish, says through a lawyer that the Convoy has provided GoFundMe with plans to the fund raised. A second blockade in Alberta in Milk River appears close to the one near Scouts. February 1st, former U.S. President Donald Trump expressed support for the Convoy calls Prime Minister Justin Trudeau a far-left lunatic. Yeah, this is helping. GoFundMe takes down the Freedom Convoy page again, saying it's violated its terms of service. At the time, the fundraiser has reached more than $10 million. That fuck, $10 million. A $9.8 million class action lawsuit filed again of downtown Ottawa citizen against the protester over incessant truck honking. Can you imagine? Living in the city and for 15 days so far? Well, they arrived on the 29. Yeah, that should be hell. Ottawa police announced they're enacting a surge in content strategy moving forward, which did nothing so far. Otherwise, they would not need the law measures. As Zeke says here, well, technically they are terrorists, but the definition for terrorists is loose as fuck. We will come into that later. I don't think they are terrorists because a definition for terrorists in Canada is very defined, is enacting violence in order to gain a political, religious, or social goal. So far, we don't hear of violence. We hear of desecrating monuments, but we didn't hear about anyone being beat up or anything being blown up so far, which is, I'm gonna jinx it, seems to be a good thing that didn't happen on any side. February 5th, U.S. Republican promised to investigate GoFundMe's decision to put the plug on Freedom Convoy 2022 fundraiser. Yeah, private company. Do what the fuck they want. Why would the U.S. Republicans of anyone try to jump into a private company telling them what to do? Touch wood. I am touching wood right now. Bronze. Solidarity protest takes place over the weekend in Quebec City, Toronto, Vancouver, Halifax, and New Brunswick. Yep, we had something in Quebec City, which is a 1 hour drive where I was. February 6th, Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson declares a state of emergency. Ottawa police seized more than 3,000 liters of fuel from protesters, according to demonstrators. They don't need fuel, they're parking their cars. February 7th, that's a week ago, Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson requests an additional 1,800 officers in letter to Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Trudeau, calling the protest a siege. Ottawa City Council vote to ask the province to bring legislation to be able to charge the protesters with the cost of damage caused by the demonstration. I like this. Whatever side you are when you're protesting, I think this should be... It's going to be hard as fuck to prove, and I don't know how this is going to work, but regardless what you are protesting, if your protest becomes a riot, you should pay for the damage you do. Judge says a 10-day injunction in a class action lawsuit by Ottawa resident against the convoy to stop incessant honking. Trudeau addressed the House of Commons at an emergency debate requested by NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. Protesters are a blockade in Windsor, Ontario, at the Ambassador Bridge, which connects U.S. to the Canada-U.S. through Detroit. So we are not able to go through, so we will blockade it to make sure nobody else can go through. If I don't get my way, you're not getting it either. Protest organizers say in an emergency press conference that they want to form a coalition of opposition party with the Governor General of Canada. Okay, February 8th, there's a lot of that, so we're gonna just speed up through it. 500 trucks remain. Oh, that's much less than the 1,300 we had earlier. Conference, fundraiser. They're using another site, Gives and Go, which I didn't heard about. They're getting so much money here. Ottawa Police Deputy Chief Bell says nearly 25% of the truck and camp on Ottawa City have children living in them. Okay. Why the fuck would you bring your children? I guess. Public Service and Procurement Canada and the Parliamentary Protected Service closed the center block construction site. Okay. Yeah. What's that? February 9, Alberta proof of vaccination system ends. Demonstrator blocked the highway leading to Couts Alta again overnight. Again. I'm saying children should not be part of a siege. Yeah. If you're planning to go there for a long time and you are clearly egging for... To them, it's a that means nothing. That means absolutely nothing to them. Yeah, but to them, it's a siege. Okay, to everybody, they're blockading, and everybody's life, they're messing around. To them, it's a siege. So, which side is more important? None of them. Ottawa Police Service warns protesters that anyone blocking the street in downtown may face arrest and have their vehicles seized. That I'm fine with that. If you're blocking the street, it's something to protest. But blocking the street and stopping everyone else's freedom of movement and freedom of life, that's shitty to do. City of Windsor and local service request provincial and federal assistance. Okay, I'm just gonna seek through this because this is kind of the same thing again, just asking for more help. Manitoba RCMP wants a member of the public to avoid the area near the border community in Emerson after trucks and farm equipment blocked the international port of entry with the U.S. RCMP will send more reinforcement. Premier announced the court order to freeze the distribution of donation. So it seems like for a long time they kind of tiptoed around it, and they're trying all these ways They've been trying for like 15 days now to just stop them without the use of police and everything. And it's not working. So it's not like they just, like Fudd said, use martial law right away. February 10th, City of Winnipeg explores potential court action to deal with a protest at the Manitoba Legislature. Ottawa police said the 911 is flooded with calls, many from the US. Why? Why the fuck would they do that? Demonstration performed a drive-in at the Ottawa airport. Again, very helpful. Good job. The Biden. Oh, okay. This one is interesting. The Biden administration urges Canada to end the blockade at the border. Oh, they want to. Okay, I misread it. I thought Biden was urging Canada to remove the mandate. No, they don't want to end the mandate because Biden administration also put the same mandate. They're still asking Canadians to have a proof of vaccination before they can enter the USA. They want Canada to end the blockade. Well, you know what, Biden? Take care of your own country, I guess. Prime Minister Trudeau holds a virtual meeting with opposition leaders on the protest. Okay. Ottawa government new emergency measures with a state of emergency aimed at protesters. Maximum of penalty of $100,000 and a year of imprisonment for non-compliance. That is harsh. That is pretty harsh. Manitoba announced it will end all proof of vaccination requirement and mask mandate. So that's the thing that bugs me. Every province here in Canada have their own right to deal their health system, which is fine, which is good. Every province should be independent. So if Manitoba and Alberta so far, they don't want proof of vaccination, fine. It's their way to do things. If they don't feel they need it, fine. This seems to be a federal rule, though. So, just playing devil's advocate here. Why would a USA truck driver would need a proof of vaccination to go in BC or Quebec or Ontario, but would not need one to go to Manitoba or Saskatchewan? This is leading yourself to a lot of problem. Police making forcibly removing protester from the Ambassador Bridge. Okay, good. Protester break through the RCMP barricade at Surrey, BC, leading to the closure of a U.S. border closing. Helpful. Okay. Protest leaders in the removed trucks. Counter protest convoy vehicle. February 14th here. That was yesterday. Alberta students no longer to wear masks at school. Okay, how is that helping us? In this case, Zeke says here, I can say if the Canadian rules in place made commerce hard for the US or convenient, it will encourage them to make a similar rule to be on even playing field. Well, as you agreed, Zeke, this was a bi-country rule. Canada and US both agreed to put this rule in place. They tried to do that in Quebec. That makes me think a few months ago, in Quebec, the Prime Minister of Quebec tried to add a rule where all the nurses and the hospital workers would need to be vaccinated in order to be able to give treatment. There was a lot of backlash. A lot of nurses threatened to just stop working, I guess. I'm looking for the word. Of course, I'm not resign. There you go. And to just walk out. And the Prime Minister backed off. He said, okay, we're going to give you 1 more month to get vaccinated and for us to hire more people. And after the month, they just said, you know what? Fuck that. Just remove this rule. So might have a bit of walking back here going on. RCMP yesterday finds guns, ammunition, high capacity magazine, body armor at the Couts border blockade. 13 people arrested. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay. Well, you were talking about terrorism before. Might have something here. Why would you need guns, ammo, if you come armed? Kind of tells me you're kind of planning about using them. For the first time in Canadian history, the federal government invokes the Emergency Act. Like we tell before, this is just a reskin of the War Measures Act. So this is not the first time. This is the second time, which gave the federal government sweeping new powers to restore order and bring ongoing trucker convoy protests and blockade to an end. Yep. Let's see what we have here. Oh, this is just one image. It says images. Okay. So, are they literally just parking at that in the street and just blocking everything? As Tentacle says, again, this isn't a protest anymore. I kind of agree. This. Right? What do we have here? Okay, Emergency Act has been enacted. Here's what it means. I'm just going to go through chat a little bit because I think I missed a few of what you guys said before I go to the next one. I also want us to listen to a podcast I edited earlier that will be very telling about what's happening. We will listen to my good friend Phil Gursky, as I told you, was a spy and was a national security guy from Canada. He interviewed last week the former chief of police of Ottawa, and I think we will want to listen to this. They're talking about this. Emergency has been enacted. Here's what it means. Okay. What is the Emergency Act? Formerly known as the War Measures Act. There we go. That's what I'm calling you. The current iteration passed in 1988, so it's a reskin of a former law, bringing in new parliamentary oversight and a requirement for Charter of Right, Freedom of Right compliance. The last time this federal emergency power was the 1970 FLQ October crisis, when Trudeau's father was the Prime Minister. Prior to that, it was used in both the First War and Second World War. So it's not the second time, it's the fourth time. The Act allows for action to combat your urgent and critical situation that seriously threatens some aspect of Canadian lives and that cannot be effectively dealt with under any other laws of Canada. Okay. The Act was called a last resort when federal officials were looking at, but never acted on, using these powers in March 2020 to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. So they were thinking, is that what I'm understanding here, guys? Correct me here. They were thinking of using it in 2020 to deal with COVID-19, and they did not do it. What power does it include? There are 4 types of emergency listed under the Act: public welfare emergency, public order emergency, an international emergency, and a war emergency. So this is not a war emergency. This could be an international emergency because it involves 2 countries. It is definitely a public order emergency. And is it public welfare? I don't know so far. Yeah, they name drop it several times, I think. What did they name drop? I think I'm missing on this one. Acts give the government a range of options to enact and address a public order emergency in this sense. Okay. Enabling the RCMP to have the jurisdiction to enforce municipal bylaws. The Act is last resort. Okay, yeah. In the first year of COVID. And they didn't, so I'm glad they didn't. Prohibiting taking part in a group assembly where it's considered to be a breach of peace and goes beyond lawful protests. Regulating the use of certain property, including goods used in blockades. Oh. Designating secure and protested places and infrastructures that are critical to the economy, such as border crossing and airports. Okay, yeah, you don't need to go fuck up the airport. Compelling those capable of render essential service, so in this case, ordering tow truck driver to move vehicle blocking roads. That's the thing we're not saying. These guys are providing an essential service. And if they stop, they have an impact on everyone. Sounds like a little crazy at a glance. Hey, we're gonna make you use your truck to do this. Use your truck to move your truck. Authorizing financial institution to instantly stop the financing effort, including immediately freezing or suspending affiliate account without a court order, and imposing fines up to $5,000 or imprisonment up to 5 years of those who breach any of the above orders. 5 years. Yeah, it's a lot. While the act covers the entire country, the power will only apply to regions that need them due to blockades or protests, and other regions are unlikely to see any impact, according to the Prime Minister. Okay, while watching this, what is you guys? Any thought? You have any thought about this? I heard thoughts from clear thoughts from Zeke, clear thoughts from Tentacle. So Moose, to give you a short story, what happened? 3 weeks ago, both Canada and the US invoked a new mandate, which required truck drivers to show and prove their vaccination status before they are able to enter Canada or the US. So this is a both ways measure. So if you're a truck driver in Canada and you're not vaccinated, you're not able to go to the United States to deliver your goods anymore. Same thing as United States truck driver, they're not able to enter Canada. We have seen the timeline. There's been a lot of protests against that, and a coalition of truck drivers formed a huge convoy, and they decided to flock to Ottawa to completely block the city, put their trucks everywhere, and make sure that everybody, it was a big disruption, and make sure that everybody will be impacted by this in an idea to try to make things to change. So it's been going on for weeks. Canadian has been, geez, this many people is bad about vaccination. That's another story, buddy. That is another story. But some of them would say it's just a principle, and some of them just don't want to get vaccinated, I guess. Yeah. So, Canadian police and ministers and security have been trying for weeks now to try to get them to move away, but the laws here do not allow police to just jump and remove protesters, because protest is a covered activity under the Canadian Charter. So they arrested a few people because a few people desecrated monuments, and some of them were found with weapons. So these people they were able to deal with, but they're not. There's nothing they can do about somebody parking their truck in the middle of the road. This is apparently not illegal. So, okay, Prime Minister Trudeau yesterday in the evening decided to invoke the Emergencies Act, which would give police momentary more powers, and will be able to. Can you turn your up tab, please? Up. Okay. Yeah. For sure. Check. Is it better now? Is it too loud, Tentacle? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, looks better. Good. So yeah, Moose, that's pretty much what happened. Now they have apparently the power to use tow truck and move these trucks away. These trucks that I just blocking everything. Yeah, this flag is upside down. Why you put your flags upside down if you're right winger? You're supposed to be patriotic. Correct flag is indeed the white and blue one. Yes. Did we see a Quebec flag? I didn't notice. This is Ottawa, by the way. And obviously, residents of Ottawa are complaining. I would agree, rightfully, about all this honking going on. Yeah, there was one. Okay, I didn't see it, but yeah, the Quebec flag is 2 blue stripes with the fleur de lis in the center. Okay, back. What have I missed? Oh, you missed everything. Went through the backlog of what happened, Fud. We went to all the steps, seeing how did we get it. Yeah, Quebec flag on the right side. We're now discussing our opinions. We apparently have... I was expecting, and it's a good thing, because I love LT debates, which everyone seems to be very, very respectful so far. And guys, thank you so much for that. There's nothing... it's gonna be fixed by yelling at each other, and you guys are not, but we seem to have a few people in chat here that seems to kind of agree with the truck convoy, and a few other people that think this has gone enough. This has gone too far, and it's time to leave. Tell my boss that nothing gets fixed by yelling. Yeah, Fud's boss, if you're looking at me, nothing is fixed by yelling. Okay. Opinion times. Let's go, guys. Shoot me what you think. Zeke says, my opinion on this is that disruption is bad, but people will subjectively believe that they are right. So when I use words, I use them subjectively. With caveat always. I think the situation that resulted in this is a clusterfuck, though. Yeah. But that's been the last few years, so if you didn't see it. Yeah, of course. It has been the last few years. Why I said the thing about protests being grey and tourists being grey, because to one is brothers is a tourist, to another. Yeah, exactly. In some cases, only one of them is right. Sometimes none is. Most of the time, none knows. Just pains me that whatever side you are on the political spectrum, you always want the police to jump and remove the other side when they're protesting, but when they're stopping you say it's martial law. Fudd says, my opinion will always go in the favor of protester until they break laws as they were written at the time of the start of the protest. That's interesting. That is interesting. So, from what I see, Fudd, I like this opinion. At the time of the start of the protest, blockading the streets like that are not a legal issue, I mean. And to remove them, they have to change the law. So, do you think the law is insufficient if it allows for this to happen in the first place? There's been a few things that happened, Fudd, that you missed. So a few people went to desecrate war memorials. A few people urinated on the public monuments, and a few people were found with guns and with guns there. So these people have been arrested and taken care of. But here Zeke says, I very much respect that opinion. Push the limit, but don't break it, and you're good. Yeah, true. But this brings the question. If the laws allow for this to happen. Freedom, dual law, and as always, I had to argue with laws and the right to have them with their way if they don't cause bodily harm. But says, if I were to disagree with them, then I would have to disagree with them. Protests in Minneapolis a few years back. Those people should absolutely be arrested and they'll on to the full extent of the law as it would be held again. Yeah, true. And I'm not sure there was, yeah, and on the timeline we saw, twice they tried to create a blockade to completely stop traffic going from the border, and these were dealt swiftly with, so I see the difference. So those people blocking the Ottawa streets cannot easily be dealt with because of this, because the law doesn't stop them. But if you're blockading the streets, the border, that's something very different. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to talk this a little bit more because we have interesting opinions in here, and I like to talk to this about you guys. I want to see more of the inside. Inside trucker convoy Ottawa. Many children living in trucks convoy. Yeah, that's where I'm not happy with. Day 2. This has been a while. Resident Centaur resident visibly shaken after talking to truckers about them. Okay, that's big news, but yeah, it's nothing. Roughly, they have good videos, but they copyright everything, so we're not gonna watch this one. Oh, let's go with this one here. Honking, honking, and incessant honking are going on. Oh, Zeke with the terrorism award again. Ooh, because you're using illegal means to disrupt the economy. Illegal doesn't mean violence, so Zeke, for the Canadian, this definition of terrorism, you need to use violence. And you can do illegal things without them being violent. So if you don't pay your taxes, it is illegal. You're supposed to pay your tax, but you're not enacting violence. So, Zeke, are you a terrorist if you don't pay your taxes, even if it's for a political ideology, and you don't think you should have to, and you decide, in my view, take the very poor decision not to pay your taxes? Domestic terrorist. Yeah. You know what I learned from my terrorist expert friend, Fudd? There is no such thing as domestic terrorists in the USA. Exactly. Section 83.1. Phil says that in his podcast every time. I've edited his podcast for 5 years now. He says that every time. Defines terrorists and not going to in all in part of a political, religious, or ideological purpose. Of course, with the intention to intimidate the public. Well. Government of Canada. Okay, so we got the same website. Canada Section 81.1 of the Criminal Code defines terrorism as an act committed in all or in part for political, religious, and ideological purpose, objective, or cause with the intent of intimating the public with regard to its security, including its economic security, and coupling a person, government, domestical, to refrain from doing any act. Okay. Okay. Activities recognized as criminal within this context. Okay, this is where it's described. Include death and bodily harm with the use of violence. Yeah. Endangering people's life. Yeah. Risk posed to the health and safety of the public. Significant property damage. And interference with the resumption of essential service. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I see your point there. So if you're disrupting the delivery of essential services with your trucks. Okay. Well, Zeke, I'm curious now. Using this definition here, risk posed to the health and the safety of the public. Last year, in the when the pandemic was at its peak, and people were dying, and a lot of people were dying, much more than we have now. Do you think that people refusing to stay home and kind of causing more infection to spread around, would you call them terrorists? Fudd, you say yes, you would call them tourists, or yes to the definition being bad? Yeah, people wrote an article calling them that. Yeah. Okay. Based on the definition you just read, yeah, it is tourism. Oh, okay.